everyone, so in this video I am using crayons in my sketchbook. Crayons are so much fun to use in sketchbooks. If you have some lying around, I would suggest grabbing your sketchbook and just like experimenting with crayons because it's so much fun. They're just so vibrant and colorful, and they have such a nice soft texture to them, and they don't smear or bleed through or anything like that because they're just wax. The only thing they do is sometimes they'll like flake onto the other page when you close your sketchbook, but it's not really that big of a deal. I find a really good way for using crayon in your sketchbook is to kind of limit your color palette. So I would say grab like 2, 3, 4 colors and just like experiment them, overlap them, see what colors you can make from them and see how they work together. Maybe even choose some random colors and just pick something that you like to draw, or just kind of let your hand and brain draw whatever it wants to draw and just have fun with the color. Because something I don't do enough is experiment with color in my sketchbook, because I kind of focus on drawing too much rather than like using color. So that's something I want to do more in my actual sketchbook because I want to get better at colors. Because color is one of the hardest things to do really, really well. Drawing is almost easier than color, for me anyway, because I just do more drawing than using color. The reason why I have this big crayon pack is I think over a year ago, maybe close to 2 years, I got a big pack of crayons of 152. I think it's all the colors, at least at the time I bought it. I don't know if they've made more colors yet, but I wanted to do a whole bunch of crayon videos because I really liked them, and I never did, and I just don't pull them out because they're under my bed most of the time, because it's just kind of big, it takes up a lot of space. So I wanted to just like pick a medium and stick with it for this video at least, because I haven't been using my sketchbook. I love using my sketchbook, but I haven't been using it just because I've been doing a lot of other drawing for assignments and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just give myself this time to have fun with color and just like let myself draw anything I want. And I ended up drawing a lot of frogs near the end, just a lot of frogs. And I just like grabbed different colors. And it's a lot of fun to do. You don't even need like a giant crayon selection like this. Just grab like a really cheap pack from the dollar store. They're really fun because you can get a lot of color down on the page really, really quickly. I think it'd be really cool to kind of like scan in crayon stuff to work on digitally, or to just scan in crayon stuff to use as custom brushes. I think that would be a lot of fun because I really like the way they look. I think it would work well combining it with digital, I think. I'm not very good at that yet, but I think it would be cool. Something I've been wanting to try and I keep forgetting to do it is I've heard of wax resist, and I know that from like dyeing eggs, that when you put wax on the eggs and you dip them in the color, the wax shows through because the ink or the dye won't go over the wax. So I wonder what it would look like if I took some ink and brushed it over the crayon. I really want to try that. I meant to do it in this video and I didn't. Maybe I'll do that in another one. I'm also really eager to finish this sketchbook because I don't like it at all, because it doesn't lay flat. It's so annoying. Like, it does lay flat, but it takes a lot of bending to make it lie flat, and I don't like that. I want to get my trusty Strathmore Vision mixed media sketchbook that I love to use. So maybe I'll try to finish this. I'll try to work on it a little bit more than I have been over the past couple of days, and hopefully finish it before Christmas. That would be ideal. I also just really like using cheap stuff in sketchbooks because you feel like you can just kind of do anything. Like, it doesn't matter if you waste the supplies because it's not really a waste if it's cheap, and if you're just practicing and just like trying a bunch of stuff to see what works. So like Crayola markers are really good. They're really good for sketchbooks because they don't bleed through to the other side because they're water-based, because alcohol markers bleed through, and alcohol markers are really expensive. So I try to use Crayola markers, water-based stuff. Oh, also another thing about crayons, I would recommend to not be too heavy-handed with them unless that's what you want to do. But what I like to do is kind of go in lightly, sketch out the whole drawing, plan where the colors are going to go, and then I start to press a little bit harder once I start layering colors. And if I want areas to be very dark, then I'll press very hard in those areas. But I like to layer different colors before pressing hard, because once you press hard, you can't go back. So I would work from light to dark, so like light-handed to more heavy-handed. in case you have no idea how to use crayons, because this might be very common knowledge. I also, the crayon pack I got comes with, I got this a really long time ago, like I mentioned, but it comes with metallic colors and sparkly colors, so I kind of want to use the sparkly ones just for fun. I don't know, I just haven't used them before because I just thought sparkles are kind of gimmicky, or like the sparkles might get everywhere, and they're not even that sparkly, but I think it would have been cool to try them. I just always forget that they're there. In case you're wondering, the sketchbook I'm using is a Strathmore mixed media, so the paper's fine. I say this all the time, but the paper's fine. I just don't like the binding of it very much. But it's still fine, like it's a good sketchbook, so. I think sometimes I get away from drawing people a little bit too much because I think, oh, you always draw people, let's draw something else. And then I just never draw people. So I wanted to do that a little bit here. And then I drew a whole bunch of frogs, a lot of frogs. I got into like trying to make them in a whole bunch of different poses and just kind of like refine the way I draw frogs. It was a lot of fun making him go in all these expressive poses and colors. Another thing I think crayons are really good for is blocking in behind your sketches. So if you have a really nice sketch, you want there to be some color in the background, using a nice light crayon color and just like filling in behind it can look really cool, gives it some texture, and it's really like blocking in colors with crayons doesn't take very long because they're very thick on the end and they cover a large area really fast. They do have a really grainy look to them, but I think that can be used to your advantage. I wonder what it would look like if I put a hairdryer on the sketches and tried to melt them. What would that look like? I was also thinking about that when I was sharpening the crayons, because the sharpener's full of like wax flakes, and I think melting that onto something would kind of be interesting. I don't know, but I'll let it build up a little bit more because I haven't sharpened that many colors in there yet. Are there any professional crayons? I don't think I've ever seen any, like, I guess Crayon is is that owned by Crayola, the word crayon, or is crayon just like a term to describe a wax stick that you draw with? I think there's things called graphite crayons, so it's probably not owned by Crayola, but are there professional crayons? Are there wax sticks that are made for professional artists? Because I've never tried to look for them. Not that I want them, I'm just wondering if they exist and if that's an art supply that any professionals actually use. And I wonder how light fast they are too. But I don't really need to know all the answers to these questions, just things I'm wondering about. I find with my sketchbooks I'll go through like phases almost, so there'll be a bunch of pencil pages, then a bunch of watercolor, then a bunch of marker, then a bunch of crayon. Like I'll kind of stick to one thing for a bit and then switch it up and then stick to that. I think that's pretty normal though. I hope you enjoyed seeing me sketch with crayon. It was definitely a lot of fun. I'm going to keep on doing this. Well, I used to do it a lot. I just forget that I own crayons and I forget that they exist. So I don't, but every time I do it, I'm like, yes, crayons are so much fun. I have to do this more. Because they're just so bright and colorful. It's a good way to practice using colors. And just kind of feel like a child again. Sort of, I guess. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you were able to draw alongside me with crayons or with whatever you want, or if you just had it on the background. It doesn't matter. I hope you enjoyed it regardless, and I'll see you in my next video.